that I do want to point out.
But you ain't answer my question about how the sperm get in there.
Yeah, I'm gonna get to that now because I thought you putting it on.
That sperm got in there.
That I can. Let me one thing I want to point out. One of the things I want to point out. Again, there is an interpretation that and again we don't got to get into this. Just for the audience to point out, there is an interpretation that the genealogy of Luke 3 is actually from Mary's side, but we don't got to get into that.
But I have a response for that though.
If you want to share quickly.
Yeah. So if you ever look up, so in Luke the 3rd chapter, you notice it says, Christ being about 33 years of age, was the son of Joseph, as was supposed the son of Heli, the son. So the man mentioned in Luke the 3rd chapter is not the same man mentioned in Matthew's the 1st chapter. Right. Jacob is mentioned in Matthew. Right. Heli is mentioned in Luke the 3rd chapter. When Luke gives Christ's lineage, he's giving it from the lineage of the law. Sure. Meaning the law of a brother. So Heli died without seed. It's called levirate marriage. Heli died without seed. So the physical father of Joseph is Jacob in Luke, Matthew's the 1st chapter. The father by law in Luke the 3rd chapter is Heli. Sure. That's how that breaks down.
And I'm really glad you pointed that out, because now that's actually going to get into the finally what you've been waiting for.
Yeah, how the sperm got in there.
Let me just preface by saying that again, that so when Mary calls Joseph the father of Jesus, she's not a liar. Whenever the text calls Joseph the father of Jesus, the text isn't lying. As you've already pointed out yourself, you've already pointed out that there's a distinction between biological fatherhood and legal fatherhood. Our position is that the fatherhood that Joseph had of Jesus was a legal fatherhood, not a biological fatherhood. And now I'm going to show why, and I'll show why.
Wait, and can you just incorporate? Remember, you got to answer my question.
Yeah.
In Acts the 2nd chapter, God swore an oath to David.
Yes.
You're changing that oath.
Sure. No.
Yes, you are.
You want to know why?
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I was actually just about to go into it. So in Acts 2:29, it says, "Men and brethren, let me freely speak unto you of the patriarch David." We're talking about David. That he is both dead and buried, and his sepulchre is with us on to this day, meaning as it was written, they knew where he was buried. Therefore, being a prophet, still talking about David, and knowing that God had sworn with an oath to him, God swore to David, that of the fruit of his loins, according to the flesh, he would raise up Christ to sit on his throne.
Sure.
There's distinctions, not only in this chapter, Second Samuel's the 7 and 12, Romans 1 and 3, Chronicles. Every prophecy that has to do with this talks about the loins of David, and not according to adoption, not according to levirate law, but according to the flesh, which means he has to be a direct descendant. So this has to be beget, 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 son of, son of, son of, because in the prophecy itself, it's giving you the stipulation. Sure. So if I read this and it mentioned the law, by law, you would have an argument. But we're literally talking about flesh, loin, sperm.
Sure.
So again, in your response, you got to show where it changes from the physical seed to adoption.
Sure. I don't have to show that, because that's not my position. My position is not that the promise changed. The promise is kept physically and it's fulfilled. And here's why. Because Mary herself was also a descendant of David.
Where in the Bible?
Sure. Again, my paradigm is that it doesn't have to explicitly be in scripture. Because Mary was, and then for me, that's not a problem. If you guys hold the sola scriptura,
just to clarify.
Sure,
So we can't find that.
Explicitly, you can't find that Mary was a descendant of David.
Just for the camera.
But the position is that Mary, being, Mary obviously was a Jew. Mary was a descendant of David, and let me tell you why. That's actually more important. Now I'm going to finally answer your question, because it goes all the way back to the prophecy, the first time that this prophecy is ever made about the coming of the Messiah. Let me point out that in Matthew 1, and Luke, you know what's coming, right? Matthew 1, right, and Luke 1, nowhere in there is Jesus ever called the son of Joseph. But as you guys already said, Genesis 3:15.
Matthew's 1?
Nowhere is.
You talk about in Matthew 1 and Luke 3. You're saying it
not
doesn't
not
say.
necessarily Luke 3. I'm just saying that in the.
Well, those are the two lineages.
Sure,
I think
sure.
that's what you're saying.
Sure. Well, what I'm actually pointing out is that whenever like Jesus is referenced, like for example, when the angel comes to Joseph, right, and says, Joseph, don't be afraid to take Mary your wife. He didn't say for your son that
But
was
John 1
conceived
and
as of the Holy
45
Spirit.
says, we found him who in the prophets did
Sure.
right. Jesus of Nazareth, the
Sure.
son of Joseph.
Sure.
But also in Matthew's 1, when we read all these beget,
Body bag.
beget, you know what I'm saying? And then it says, and Jacob begat Joseph, the husband of Mary, whom was born of Jesus, who is called Christ. You know that whom was born is the exact same word as beget, which means the son of. It literally says he begot him right here, and he's the son of in Matthew's 1, in the lineage.
Yeah. And that's going to be in verse 16, right?
Yeah, 16.
And Jacob, the father of Joseph, the husband of Mary, it says, of whom Jesus was born, who is called Christ.
You know, that's the same word as beget.
Sure.
Same exact word in Greek.
And the interesting thing, is this: when you actually read all of these genealogies, you read the entire genealogy, it's always the man that is mentioned.
Yeah.
It's always the man that is mentioned, right?
Except for Ruth.
And then when it comes to right.
That was
Just a gun.
Right.
I jumped the shark.
You jumped the shark, right? Except for Ruth. And then when it comes to Joseph, the text doesn't just go on to say, and of Joseph, it was Jesus. It goes on to say, and of Mary was born the son.
How many other women mentioned
Sure.
in Matthew's 1?
So Ruth is one. I think she's the only one,
I
right?
gave you one. I'm sorry.
Ruth? Yeah. How many?
No, it's a couple.
Sure.
It's Ruth, Pharez, and I think one more. So there's four women, I believe, in total in Matthew's the first chapter. So when you read Matthew's the first chapter, I just knew it was just going to let him walk right up in that joint. So in Matthew's 1, when you read Matthew's 1, it says the book of the generations of Jesus Christ, the son of David, son of Abraham. And it says, and Judah begat Pharez and Zerah of Tamar, and Pharez begat Esther. We got a woman there.
What verse is that?
Just so you know, when you tapped my leg, I thought you meant
Judah, the father of Perez and Sarah by Tamar,
right?
And Perez, the father. Oh, so right here, the women. The reason that the women are mentioned is because it's making a distinction. Because there was one guy that had multiple wives, and he had children with both wives.
No, that ain't the reason. So we're gonna keep going. So in verse 5, it says, and Salmon begat Boaz of Rechab, and Boaz begat Obed of Ruth, two more women. And then it says, Obed begat Jesse. Jesse begat David. David begat King Solomon of her that had been the wife of Uriah. So you're seeing women being mentioned. So Mary being mentioned is not special in the sense of being only the only woman mentioned.
Let me tell you why. Or if you need to
I could be interrupted. That's cool.
Let me tell you why it is actually a little bit different. Mary being mentioned here, because even in verse 3, right, where it says Judah, the father of Perez and Sarah by Tamar, it mentions that who it's by, but it still says that it's the father. And then when you go all the way down to again to verse 16, it says,
but it doesn't say father with everybody. The most consistent part in all of it is the word begat.
Sure.
Begat lets you know that the child that's coming from this man was begotten by him.
Sure.
That's important.
Sure.
And so when you get to 16, so you got the begat. And so now it says, and Jacob begat Joseph, the husband of Mary, of whom was born Jesus, who is called Christ. Now, the reason why this is phrased that way, because this is the end of Christ's lineage, because it's now mentioning him. It's the conclusion. So Jacob begat Joseph, the husband of Mary, of whom was born. Begat and born is the same word. In the Greek.
And I agree with you. Yeah, begat, born.
So the only way Christ can have this lineage is if he came from Joseph. Because it doesn't come, the line Israel is all patriarchy.
If
we go by your logic, you're making Mary be from the house of David to make it matriarchy, and there's nowhere in the text where it's matriarchy.
Even if a woman is from the house of David, it's the house of David, so it will still be patriarchy.
A woman being from the house of David is irrelevant. The man is the one that carries the seed.
Sure. So you're right. The begotten, born of, and begotten, same word. You're absolutely correct, but that's not the point that I'm making. The only point that I'm making here with the lineage. So follow me. Every single time that father and son are mentioned, it always says X, the father of Y, X, the father of Y. Every single, even when it mentions the mother. X the father of Y, X the father
It
of every
doesn't say
single
that with
time.
all of these. It says
Can you
Asa
point
begat.
one?
Yeah, verse 8. Asa
Sure.
begat Jehoshaphat, and Jehoshaphat begat Joram, and Joram begat Arise.
So
Doesn't
here,
say father anywhere in there.
in mine 8, it actually says father. Should we go to the Greek?
Well, I'm looking at it in the King James. I don't know what version you're reading.
The RSV. So should we go to the
What
Greek
is-
and see if the word father is used there?
I would imagine.
Let's go to
the
Matthew 1:8.
The KJV. I'm gonna go to.
Yeah, is the word father used
Bible
there?
Hub.
No, beget is absolutely born here, and
Yeah.
the reason as to why
but-
one, the women are mentioned here is because
Mhm.
these are all famous women in stories in Israel. One,
Sure.
two. Once we get here, the reason why it's mentioning Mary, you know what I'm saying, as far as the husband, is because the story is going to then conclude as to how he's supposed to take this woman. They are together. This is of the Lord. So
Sure.
it's adding context in. So this is why it's mentioning Mary. However,
Sure.
Christ is begotten of him.
So are you guys saying that the Greek word that's used for forgotten or born of is also being translated as father in my translation?
No, it's
No,
the
no.
same.
What
we're
I'm saying is,
please.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
No, what I'm saying is that word in the Greek is just begat.
Just begat.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
So because you looked up the Greek, what is the word in father? Because in my translation it says Asa the father of Jehoshaphat, and Jehoshaphat the father of Joram, and Joram the father of Uzziah. Is the Greek word for father used in that? In
That's what I'm.
Can you
Bible
double-
Hub usually knocks it right out.
Yeah, Matthew 1:8, and check out the Greek. If
I'm gonna go-
Matthew 1:8 uses the Greek word for father. And
Okay,
for the
so-
audience that's following along, the reason that we need to figure out if the Greek actually uses the word father is because we're looking at the symmetry here, that in the lineage, it's always X father of Y, X father of Y, X father of Y.
Okay, so I'm
So
gonna
yeah,
go,
let's just
I
see
have
if-
my blue
yeah,
letter
yeah.
Bible. I'm gonna click this and go to
Just to see
interlinear,
if the word-
interlinear.
Matthew 1:8
I just
is
don't
what
wanna
is the
open
Greek? Matthew 1:8 in Greek. And look at,
The Greek text.
So yeah, so go to that one. And then it says, so begat, right? Jehoshaphat, then begat, begat. So here, what I pulled up, it just says begat. So Asa begat Jehoshaphat, begat.
Right. Now-
So
So
for
look at
me,
begat.
it's translated as
So
father.
if you look at that word begat,
Yeah.
that's the Greek word there.
Yeah.
You see that there? I'm gonna click it.
Uh-huh.
I'm gonna see it open up. I don't know why it's moving so slow. And then you'll see.
Was the father, begat was the father.
Mhm.
Okay. So yeah, so that word actually can be translated. Is there a different Greek word for father? Let's
let
look
me
up let's look up the Greek
let's
word for
look up
father really quick.
But just
All we
know-
gotta go through all this just because
Right.
it's
I know,
Joseph's
just
lineage,
I know,
And-
man.
and
This
just know-
is theology right here.
But just know, in 1 and 16, right, when it says, and Jacob begat Joseph, right?
Sure.
So once you get down to, you know what I'm saying, and the husband, Joseph, the husband of Mary, who was born, of whom was born is the same word beget
Oh,
was for Jacob in
I'm-
the same verse.
Yeah, I'm stupid. I should know that the Greek word, I'm a Byzantine Catholic, is pater. So pater is not used in Luke 1:8, right?
No.
It's not used anywhere then. It's
No.
not used anywhere in I'm sorry, not
That
Luke, in
means-
Matthew, right?
Matthews.
Yeah, that means your
So it's
RSV.
begat, it's
Your
begat.
RSV
The whole
probably
way
is a
through.
thought
Sure.
for thought. Your
Yeah.
RSV is probably a thought for thought translation.
Rather than a literal.
But just
Right,
look,
right,
was born is gano.
Right.
And then when you go up to beget in the same verse is
It's that
gano.
word. Right.
So it's congruent the whole
Right.
way through.
Absolutely. So it's
So again,
right.
Joseph is the father.
So
of
then,
Jesus.
if you can do me a favor, can we say in verse 16 is let's go look
Yeah,
up
but-
Matthew 1 in the Greek.
He just showed you begat.
Is that
Yeah,
was that verse 16?
that's what it was.
he just
Yeah.
showed
That verse,
you.
oh, I'm sorry, bro.
Yeah,
That's
just
okay.
showed
No,
you.
look up, okay.
I know it hurt. It's okay.
Listen, scroll
I thought you were showing me. Jacob begat Joseph, the husband of Mary, of whom Christ let me see.
And now
Yeah.
go
So it
down and
says-
go down to whom was born. It's the same word.
Jacob and begat Joseph, the husband of Mary. So you're right, it's the same word. The only thing is that it says of whom, and the husband of Mary, of whom was born Jesus.
But the word is
But
beget.
the word is begat.
And the reason being is because the actual definition of beget, you know what I'm saying, is of whom was born. So the reason why the verbiage changes in English is because we're at the finale. We're at where the lineage led us to. These are the generations of who? Jesus Christ. And it starts from Father Abraham
Sure.
all the way on down to Joseph. So the reason, like I said, why the phraseology changes
Mhm.
is because we've arrived at whom we're looking for, at whom we're talking
And
about.
Joseph
Sure.
is the daddy.
This is
You still ain't
is
show me where that sperm got up in there. Oh, wait.
right.
The
So
answer
eight-
to the sperm is because you're looking at adoptionism, correct? Would that be a clean word to say?
It was
Joseph-
no, for
Joseph
us,
is the
adoptionism is a heresy.
No.
That's something else.
Wait. I know that because they think about Jesus as
Doctrine,
God.
yeah.
But I'm not talking about the Jesus as God and the sect that had adoption.
Sure.
What I'm talking about is you're saying Joseph is the adopted father of Christ.
You could say that, right?
Okay, that's what you
Legal
would have to-
father, and
right?
still legal.
And that's where you're breaking the promise that God made to David. God made to
Wow.
David
I'm just letting
The
you
pro-
guys.
because the promise God made to David was the seed, bloodline, flesh. You would
Sure.
have to show where that prophecy changed.
Sure. So again, the position is that it didn't change; it's still fulfilled, and it can still be fulfilled even through the woman.
How?
The line of, and again, Genesis 3:15.
Whoa,
Genesis
yeah, what that say?
Genesis 3:15, and this will also
So you
get
talking
into
about
that.
the enmity between
Sure.
her seed and his seed is about Jesus.
So well, again, the ultimate fulfillment. You guys agree that the ultimate fulfillment of Genesis 3:15 is about the Messiah, right?
That happened already. That's Jacob and Esau. That's
Right.
the enmity.
But that it has an ultimate fulfillment. Does
That is
Genesis
the, we've been
3:15?
fighting. Listen, we fighting against Esau to this day.
Okay,
It's still enmity.
so then, according to you guys, Genesis 3:15 isn't referring to Jesus.
No, I wouldn't say that that's referring to Jesus in
Okay.
the context of the enmity, because when it says, I will put enmity between his seed and her seed,
Sure.
if we said that today, now, y'all might have the slang we have, seed is another term for child, right?
Sure. Yeah.
So when
Absolutely.
it says, I will put enmity between his seed and her seed, it's saying between his child and her child.